Okay, I have often found myself in situations that I just should not be in. I would go through a door and end up in an apartment or a house and realize, I should not be here. I would get into a car with people and think, I should not be in this car with these people. Why did I do this? And sometimes, literally or figuratively, I've gone down a road and wondered, why in God's name did I go down this road? So I was living in Nacogdoches in the spring of 1974, and my parents called from my hometown in Arlington and said they were moving to Alexandria, Louisiana, so that my father could take a job as the district superintendent, that is the administrative pastor, for the 120 churches in his very conservative Protestant denomination in Louisiana. I would occasionally make the trip from Nacogdoches to visit my parents. And my parents were, as Lottie said, very religious. And to give you a little texture about that, they believe very much that the second coming of the Messiah would happen in their lifetime, when all the dead would be raised from the dead, and all the good Christians, like them, would be taken up into heaven, and all the bad Christians, like the Baptists and the Methodists and the Catholics, would be cast into hell to burn for all eternity, along with the non-Christians, the Jews, the Muslims, the animists, the Buddhists, the Hindus, everybody else, and the sinners. There weren't very many sinners left after you get all those people in hell. But, that is what they believed, and they believed a number of other things. They had a long list of things that were sins. My favorites were dancing, even dancing in your room by yourself, listening to rock and roll. Rock and roll itself was a sin. Go figure. Let's see, dancing and going to movie theaters and swimming in swimming pools with the opposite sex. Things that a teenager who kind of really likes to do. And I asked my father, can you show me in the Bible where the words movie theater and swimming pool are? That really made him angry, and my mother said, "You're just different." And she's right, I am. Now, I would make the trip to see my parents from time to time because I loved them. I still loved them. As strange as they seemed to me, they were generous, they were kind, they certainly put up with a lot of grief from me, patient. I loved going to see my parents. And besides, I'd get a few bucks from my dad, I'd get some of my mom's cooking, I'd do a couple loads of laundry, and I'd usually go home with a sack full of groceries. But I took the same route to see them from Nacogdoches to Alexandria from time to time, and I would take the rural roads because it's more scenic and the traffic is less bad. And a couple of times I passed a large hand-painted sign that said, "Secrets to the Universe Revealed. Your choice, baby boy, baby girl." And I thought, wow, that's weird. Wonder what that means. But I kept on driving until the time that I was traveling with my girlfriend to take her to meet my parents for the first time. And I pointed out the sign to her, and she said, "Well, what is that all about?" I said, I don't know. I've never followed the arrow down the road to check it out. She said, "You want to do that?" Yeah, sure, if you do, okay. I wanted to do anything that this girlfriend wanted me to do because I adored her. We've been married almost 50 years. I still adore her. And don't clap. The main reason it was going to delay the trip to Alexandria, where I had to see my very religious parents, not be my authentic self. But, I wanted the few bucks, the groceries, the food, and doing the laundry. Anyway, so down the road we went. When we got to the end of the road, we came to a ramshackle old house, and a weathered old man came out on the porch as we pulled up. As I'm rolling the window down to speak to him, he shouts out to us, "Hi there, folks. What could I do you for?" And I said, well, we're kind of interested in the sign that's out on the county road. Kind of what does that mean? What's that all about? He said, well, come up here and sit on the porch with me, and I'll tell you all about it. So that's what we did. We went and sat in the porch swing. He sat in the long chair, and this was his story. He was out plowing his field one day when an angel of the Lord appeared and said the angel would show him how to extract a germ out of the soil and show him how to make a potion, and then he could do an astrological reading, and for $50, a young couple could choose whether they would like to have a baby boy or a baby girl, and it was a money-back guarantee. Okay, that's a little wacky, and I have pretty good wacko radar because of the way I was raised. Then he goes on, and he says, I've been in contact with the U.S. government, and they're very impressed and very interested in my potion and my process because there is a war coming between the forces of good and the forces of evil, and the U.S. Army is going to need a lot of male soldiers to fight in that war on the side of the forces of good. I'm thinking, okay, this fella is off the rails, and my anxiety is starting to raise, and I'm starting to think, maybe I shouldn't be here. Maybe we need to leave. And then I noticed some movement out of the corner of my eye, and I look over, and there's a little old lady hobbling about on her walker inside the house. And the man says, I see you noticed my wife. She's very depressed. An angel of the Lord came to me and said she is soon going to die a violent death. I'm thinking, okay, exit strategy. Okay, what do we do? I got to get out of here. And then I hear behind me the unmistakable roar of a chainsaw. And I turn and look down the road from whence we came, and there's a young man just a little older than me, standing on the side of the road with a chainsaw, running, and no particular job apparent. And he's staring at us. I'm thinking, okay, now my anxiety is off the rails. And I'm hearing a voice in my head screeching, exit the premises. Exit the premises immediately. And so I'm starting to think, okay, what do I do? I stood up. I said, well, sir, listen, it's a pleasure to meet you. We need to get on to Alexandria. And he said, well, that's fine. Would you mind kneeling down and having a word of prayer with me before you go? I'm thinking, I do not want to get down on my knees and close my eyes and be in this vulnerable position with violent death guy in front of me and chainsaw boy behind me. But my girlfriend says, well, yes, sir, we would love to kneel and have a word of prayer with you. Thank you very much. Later, I found out she was thinking the best exit strategy was to be as cooperative as we could and then get in the car and get the heck out of there. So we got down on our knees, and I had one eye open and one eye closed, and my one eye is on violent death man. And I looked over at my girlfriend, and she had one eye open and one eye closed, and her one eye was on chainsaw boy. But the man came to the amen portion of the prayer, stood up and said, well, it was a pleasure to meet you. Please keep us in your prayers. And what I'm thinking is, and please don't let that boy come chop us up with a chainsaw. So we make it out to the car. We drive away as fast as we can without raising any suspicion. Chainsaw boy watches us all the way out. We get out to the road, we laugh, and all the way back to Alexandria, we say, what in the heck was that? Had a very pleasant visit with my parents. Sunday afternoon, we head back, same route, came upon the sign again. This time, the sign says, tomatoes, $10 a bushel. We did not go down the road to check out those tomatoes.